Hi, I'm James.
I'm Katina.
I'm Janae.
And we're connecting with the Collins. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you are in the world, we're just glad that you came to be with us today. And before we get started with today's conversation, will you do me a favor? Like and share.
Subscribe.
And hit the bell down below.
All right. Well, welcome back to Connecting with the Collins.
Yes.
And you're probably wondering, who is this young lady sitting next to us? This is Janae. This is the youngest Collins in the family, and we're
Because y'all were old. So.
and we're so glad to have her in tonight's conversation. So for the month of March, we've been talking about communication. And one of the things that is so prevalent in today's time is, communicating with your young people, with your young children that are in the house. And I know that back in my day, when I was younger, they used to tell us as young people that children should be seen and not heard. However, there was things happening during that time that parents really should have been hearing from their children. There was some devastating things that happened, and it's also important that we remember that children have opinions. Isn't that right? Yeah. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Communication. So, Janae.
Huh?
What is important about communication? What is communication?
Talking.
Okay.
Texting. Writing. Calling.
Okay.
Smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smiling. That's a way of communication.
Hugging.
Hugging. What?
Kissing.
Oh, kissing too. That is a form of communication. What kind of communication is that, Jane?
Kissing?
No verbal.
Oh, nonverbal. So nonverbal is good.
Look at you.
Hey.
Hey, go ahead and communicate.
Now, you were saying even when you go to school, you guys do some nonverbal communication, right? So your teacher and... So why is it important for you to communicate, you think, with the family? What do you, when we think about communication, why is it important to communicate with your family, with your parents, with your aunt, your uncle? Why is that?
Okay, I feel pressured. Anyway.
Why do you think? Why is it important for you, so you were talking to us earlier today about communication. Why is it important to communicate with your family?
Because if someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
Safety.
For safety. That's good.
Traveling.
Okay. For travel. Yeah. Instructions. Right. Having communication. You could get instructions. So Jay, what else? We were talking about communication. What else is important about communication? I mean, you're able to express your feelings through communication, right? We talked about that. You're also able to express your opinions. We were talking, Janae, and as a young person, as a child of the Collins family, when you think about communication.
I know one.
Okay.
It's something that my parents do 24/7.
What?
I talk. Yes. I talking.
I talking. Can you give us an example of I talking? Can they see you? So why do you think we I talk?
So I don't know anything because I'm nosy. Y'all say it every time.
That is true.
Ding ding ding.
Ding ding
Stop
ding.
it.
When Janae learned how to talk or learned how to read, right?
Read, write, spell. Learning how to power solving or mind solving, putting two and two, and learning how to put things together very well. And then she inherited her mother's gift on having an ability to eavesdrop. She has bionic ears, and she just can't control them fully yet, but it's working. So again, communicating. So sometimes we can hear things that we shouldn't hear, especially in public places. And my wife she's a master of going from each table and still keep up with her own conversation, and you won't know, and unless you ask her what's going on in table 2, what's happening in table 4, and she will be on point. So that is a gift that I think someone else has inherited a little bit in doing it. But like anybody with superpowers, you have to learn how to control them.
That's right. We got superpowers. Hey. So when we think about our young people, you have to get creative. We had to get creative and learn how to communicate.
And when I almost said it. When I had my thing, I was on my thing, and I got in the house. They were
I talking
in the kitchen. I was just staring at them. They were like,
right, because we had to be creative and learn how to talk without you learning what we were saying. But when you think about communication, sometimes people don't communicate for fear of rejection. And you were telling us earlier, you went to private school for many, many years, and you just recently went to public school. And how did that make you feel with the transition? Like you were saying, it made you feel kind of nervous, yeah. And like, because you don't know some of the kids, so sometimes you don't communicate because you don't know them. And sometimes when we don't communicate, it's for fear of rejection. And so I think one of the things that's really important about communication is that you just take the first step. You were saying earlier, Jay, what are some simple ways to communicate?
Oh, well, that's pretty easy. So I think, let me get back here. So the communication part is really a learning thing. You have to learn how to communicate. And so there's different ways to communicate. And there's also bad communication too. And it also could be non-verbal and communicating bad as well. So that's the thing, is learning how to communicate and communicate well by interaction with other people. Now, I will tell you this. When my wife and I were growing up, there was no real cell phone, there was no other way. So we had to learn how to communicate just by communicating with people. But in that, we learned a lot how to communicate. But nowadays, the fear of, I would say, and I know it's like I'm going on a tangent, but I'm making my point. When you on a cell phone, yes, you are communicating, but it's half of it, because you can hide behind text, you can hide behind certain things through that. Now we got emojis, and emojis are expressing how we feel, and so, and I get that, but I just think that we lose the art of face to face and hand in hand, and I just something about that, learning how to, like you say, do not a non-verbal. Even in the military, when they're in the middle of battle, they do hand gestures. They do looks. They do code sequences. They don't get on a phone and text you what's about to happen. You have to learn how to communicate. So, and I think it's just getting less and less nowadays. That's why I know I encourage, if you have kids, to have them involved with curriculum things and things like that, just because it's important for them to learn how to, in this day and age.
So I think one of the things as we're wrapping up this particular segment with connecting with the Collins and communication is, one, individually, it's important to communicate, right? It's important for you to express your feelings, right? And there used to be some whoa feelings. Yes, so it's important for you to express your feelings. It's also important for you that have children or just have a family in general to listen. Know that your young people's feelings are important, that they do have opinions. Janae, oftentimes when we're making decisions, we do ask you your opinion.
Okay.
Sometimes. Now, there are some things like going to school that you don't get to have an opinion about. You have to go to school, right? For your betterment. But there are things that you can include your young people on. Certainly there are some things that, you can't. But it is important for them to feel inclusive in the family. If they don't feel inclusive, how will they learn what that looks like, right? And then the other thing, of course, as a family and communication is you understand how to non-verbally communicate. So right now she's communicating with her dad. Her dad is communicating with her. No words are being spoken, but they are saying, I love you. Right?
Yeah.
That is,
Absolutely. And it just dropped into my spirit too. The kids matter. Kids and how they feel. You're actually training them to how to learn how to, at an early age, just knowing how to say what they feel. A lot of kids nowadays, if they don't have a chance to speak on how they feel or their opinion, if they don't know if their opinions matter, then it'll just stay bottled up.
Yeah.
And then when they get grown, they just won't know how to communicate because it was never trained at an early age. It is okay to express how you feel. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So Janae, so if you we're going to tell, talking to a young person that's on watching right now, or talking to a parent, what's one thing that you would encourage that young person to do, and one thing you would encourage the parent to do? Look at that camera and tell them. When you think about communication.
Like, if you want to make friends out of school, just go ahead and say, hi, do you want to be friends?
That's good.
Good icebreaker.
That's good.
And, like, if somebody rejects you, just say, you know what, I don't want you anyway.
We don't want you to say I don't want you anyway, but you do have to learn how to address the rejection, right? Because we all are going to experience it. And then for the parents, what would you encourage the parents to do with their children? Communicate. It's been wonderful having you all join us in this conversation. Yeah. We certainly hope that you're taking something away from communication. Janae's communicating right now, indicating to us that she's ready to end this conversation. All right, y'all. Have a great week, and we'll catch you on the next Communicating with the Collins.
Bye.